Yo, what's good everybody? This is Weston and I'm super stoked to be giving you guys another tech house tutorial video. Today we're going to be doing a full tech house track in 1 hour. We start with an 8-bar loop, so the first part of the video goes over what's in the 8-bar loop, and then we take that and we make a full track out of it. I'm going to be selling the project file from this video on my website, so if you head over to itsthewestend.com, you can grab a copy of it there with all the samples in it, all the presets, everything. Also, I will be launching a private Discord server where I will be giving feedback. We'll have lots of content on every aspect of music production. We'll be giving away samples, custom Ableton presets, you know, a bunch of stuff. It's going to be an amazing community, so stay on the lookout for that. Finally, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, leave me a comment below with what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, any ideas for future videos. I read all the comments, and so it's much appreciated. Hope you guys enjoy the video and have a great day. Peace. If you want to see me write a track completely from scratch, I recommend you check out my last video where I write a tech house track in 1 hour with a complete blank project file. But today we're going to be starting with some sounds already there. So I figured I'm going to show you guys what I have now. We'll listen to this 8 bars. We'll break down all the different sounds, and then we'll just take it from there. I have no idea what I want this to sound like. We're probably going to need some more sounds, but it'll be a cool starting point. So let's listen to the 8-bar loop that we got going on.
Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be.
Cool, so we got definitely some stuff to work with. We have some drums, bass, vocals. The vibe I'm going for, it's kind of like a little ghetto, funky house, tech house track. And yeah, that's where we got started. So let's listen to the kick. I have 2 different kicks playing. There's a low kick and a mid kick. So the low kick sounds like this. We got a couple double notes. The mid kick. It's not really a mid kick, it's more of a high kick. Bring this up in volume, you can hear it. There's a little bit of a tick at the beginning. This kind of helps for this kick. This kick doesn't really have that many high frequencies, so I'm trying to add those in with this mid kick. So if I solo this and I mute the mid, you can hear it immediately adds a little bit more punch, a little bit more energy to this kick. You know, I have an EQ here, you can kind of see there's no high frequencies, right? So I'm adding those in. On this kick, I don't want anything but the high, so that's why I have this EQ kind of set up here. These are both going up to a kick bus. I have a little bit of an EQ cutting some highs right here, so I can solo this. Just to tame those highs a little bit, I think I added too much with this. And then I have Kick Tweak, which is an awesome saturation plugin for kicks. I think Chris Lake had a video on this a year or 2 ago and everyone got it. But I love this preset number 4. Bring the dry wet somewhere between 30 and 60. Makes the kick a lot bigger, a lot fatter. So that's the kick. Next we have the bass line. Pretty simple 1-bar loop. I got this bass line from some audio loops, so you don't always have to, you know, make your bass lines from scratch in a synthesizer. You know, there's tons of bass loops out there on Splice and sample packs, wherever you can find them. So I think I chopped this one up. It's kind of like a bass guitar. I just have an EQ on this just to cut out any highs and fuzz. If I take this off, you can hear the difference. Little crackles here and there. Just cleans it up a little bit. And then I have the second bass loop. This one's just to add a little bit of character, a little bit more to the loop. So, you know, I'll play it without it. It's just that one. Add it in. Just adds like a little bit of a bounce. You can especially notice it when this plays, mostly because the side chain is cutting this off. And then these 2 pieces of audio go up to my bass group right here, and this is where I put my side chain, so both have the same side chain. For my side chain, I prefer to use volume automation, so a tool like Kickstart or LFO tool or Shaperbox, those are all great choices. LFO tool I like a lot because you can really change this curve. So I kind of have it set in the middle, so you know, after an 8th note, the bass kind of comes back in, so you can kind of hear this. See, without it, you hear the bass on the 1. With it turned on, it kind of slides in. Cool. So that's the sidechain. And at the end of this project, I'm going to go in and mix this down a little bit more and get this like really clean, but this is a good start. So for our drums, I'll slow this for you guys so you can hear it. Very simple loop. We have a clap here. Very big clap. Sounds nice and tight, nice and short as well. You can see the sample. There's no reverb. It kind of ends right when the sample's done. We have some hats. This open hi-hat just with some EQ to cut any lows. We have this loop right here. Same thing. I'm cutting out all the lows. And then we have this little, these I call these like character drums. They just kind of help fill in these little fills and add a little bit more to the track. So this is like an amen break or some type of drum and bass break. See if I can extend this out. I can't. That just comes in every 2 bars, and then we have a supplemental hi-hat as well that comes in. So those are the drums. We can go over processing later, but that's just the basics of the drums. Then we have the vocals. So there's 2 vocals. There's a background vocal. This I think I cut from an acapella. I have some sidechain on this as well so that it kind of pumps with the kick. You can see on the 1 now it kind of fades in like that. A little bit of EQ just to cut any lows that may have been there. And then my main vocal is this getting busy vocal, which is from a loop, and I think I chopped it up. So so a couple getting, and then
getting busy in the place.
And then this repeats itself one more time, but this time I have a little bit longer of a loop here, right? So
Getting busy in the place to be.
that to be is right there. EQ, this is called Gem Dopamine. It's an excitement plugin. I don't have it actually turned on yet, but usually what I do is I use this lead vocal preset, and it helps to brighten the highs a bit on the vocal. But I'm going to turn this off for now, and I'm only going to turn that on if I need to use it. For the EQ here, just taming the highs a little bit. I think there was too many high frequencies. I rolled them off. And then I have my West End vocals chain, which I actually got from a YouTube video, and I recreated it. I think Reed Stefan was the one who did it. But it's parallel processing. So we have your dry vocal, which is just
Getting busy in the place.
and then I have all these different layers. So a compressor, a glue compressor, and this one's panned a little bit to the right.
Getting busy in the place.
Extremely compressed. We have another compressor here.
Getting busy in the place.
A lot of compression. This one's on the left.
Getting busy in the place.
We have a flanger that's on the left.
Getting busy in the place.
And these are all at 100%, right? Because the idea of parallel processing is you're using the volume knob to mix these channels in with the original one and to get this like really big vocal sound. So we have the flanger, we have the slap delay, which is a filter with a couple of different effects on it, a filter delay. Very trippy sounding. This is on the right, so these two together add a lot of width to the vocal. I have a short reverb. Ends very quickly. We have a longer reverb. You can hear the tail lasts a lot longer on that. Some delays. 8th note delays, and then I believe this is another filter delay with another 8th note delay there. So yeah, many different signals all playing at the same time.
Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place.
Really helps to give that vocal a little bit more presence, and I can always go in and tweak the volumes of these. This is probably what I'm going to do later on, but that's the vocal processing. Nothing on the group here. And then a couple other sounds before we get started and really arrange this track. We have this miscellaneous tab. I use this for like ear candy, just like random one-shots. We have a, what is this sound? It's a little backspin DJ kind of effect. Another little effect. So these play on the transition every 4 bars right now. And then in the effects section, we have the alarm sound, which comes in on the 1. And these are all going to my sidechain effect bus. So everything in here is getting a sidechain, the same sidechain, which is kickstart. And then there's this other little effect. You know, this could use some EQ. I hear a lot of low-end bass in this, so let's put an EQ on this. A lot cleaner now. So yeah, let's listen to this one more time, and then let's figure out what we want to do here.
Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be.
Cool, so let's take this and let's insert some time beforehand. So in Ableton, if you do create insert silence or command I, wherever your cursor is, you're able to put in a gap of silence. So let's say I want the drop for this song to be 48 bars in. So let's do 48 bars. You know, now if I zoom out, we can see I inserted 48 bars of silence. This gives me some room to make an intro, maybe to make a build up as well. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take this loop and I want to add a little bit more to it and get it sounding really good. And then we can kind of work backwards. We can build an intro, we can do a build up that'll lead into this. So again, if we listen here, I think some of the problem areas are we need a couple more fills to add some more character to the track. And I think the drums could be a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more punchy. Right now they're pretty simple. So let's start with the drums first. Let's start with the hats. I want another hat right here. I'm hearing in my head like a ride cymbal. So I'm going to add a additional hat here. I'm going to go to where are my drums? Type in an open hat. I'm using Ableton 10 right now, so I don't have, oh, there they are. There's my drum bundle. I love these Wave Alchemy drums. They're really, really good. So let's do open hat, hi-hats, open. It's kind of cool. Definitely way too loud. So this is just going to add like some accentuation. It's going to make the drum groove a little bit more complicated or sophisticated, I would say. You know, we can pan this so it doesn't always hit. If we pan it, we give it a little bit more space because right now it's playing at the same time as this hat. So they're kind of competing for space. If I can move this one to the left or to the right, that's going to allow your ears to notice it a little bit better. It's not going to sound like it's in the same area as this one. Maybe here we can do a little double or something. I like that. Let's consolidate this. Let's add some more, maybe like some percussion. So, you know, I can go here and to my loops, or actually I have a percussion section right here I forgot about. So let's maybe find a percussive loop and chop it up. Got some new sample packs I want to try. Let's try percussive loops. This one's kind of cool. So let's see if any of these areas sound good. Definitely like this little section. So let's keep that. I don't want to use too much of this one, so I want just that one there. I'm going to make a new audio channel. Let's see if I can find another percussion. This is great. So this has like some snare samples in it. I mean, this is going to add a lot of character. I don't love these two notes right here because it's just playing on top of the clap, but I really like this one. It adds a lot of swing. And maybe we don't do the second one right here. Maybe we save that for later. So let's say, you know, I were to copy this over here. Maybe this section we can have that double. You know, this one sounded great. Let's add that. Maybe. There's some other cool stuff in here like this. I like this a lot. So Let's consolidate this and find a place for this guy to live. Maybe right there.
Busy in the place. Busy in the place to be.
You know, and maybe here we can do a couple more changes. So we have this nice little percussive hit. I'm trying to just copy just the hit right here. I'm zooming in. Let's see. Let's copy this hit. You know, and maybe we can add a couple more of these.
Busy in the place to. Busy in the place to be. Busy in the place to be.
Maybe try this one. A lot of this is trial and error for me. I'm just trying to see, you know, what could sound cool in different areas.
Busy in the place to be. Busy in the place to be. Busy in the place to be. Busy in the place. In the place. In the busy in the place to be.
I like this just by itself there. Now we know we have some slight variation as the track goes on, because the last thing we want to do is have this be extremely repetitive. Alright, so that sounds pretty cool. So we're definitely beefing up the drums a bit. Maybe we want to add another layer to this open hat. Very like one-dimensional right now. I want to try to add a little bit more lower frequencies with another sample. So let's see if I can find something like this maybe. Helps add a little bit more grit, a little bit more character there. And these, you know, it's a pretty subtle change, but this makes a big difference because when you listen to those professional, very big sounding tracks, like they do a lot of layering, you know, every sample is very carefully selected. So little changes like this can actually make a big difference for your track.
Busy in the place.
I want the vocal to be a little bit louder in the mix. It sounded a little bit too quiet. I want people to focus on this vocal, so I'm going to bring it up in the mix by just raising the volume.
Busy in the place. Busy in the place to be.
So I want to cut the low end of the kick and the bass right here. So I'm going to group these together, and I'm going to put a EQ8 on it. And I'm going to basically automate this device to turn on and off. So it'll be, it'll only be on. So right click, show automation in new lane. It'll only be on for this section right here.
Busy in the place.
And then this EQ, we're going to cut out all the lows. So let's use the 4x curve. Let me put this around right here. Somewhere around there, and we can actually make this a little bit more complicated. We can automate this to come back in. So it's going to immediately cut to this high pass state, and then it's going to move back to a low state when it drops in. You can kind of hear that bass roll back in, and then it'll go back to normal since we turn it off. So I like that little fill there. You know, we can do the same fill here. Maybe we make it double the length, so instead of just being half of a bar, it can be a full bar, and we can take this automation, kind of extend that out, you know, like this. Maybe we curve it out a little bit so that most of the automation happens towards the end. A little bit faster. All right, cool. So now we got some dope sounds in the drop. I'm happy with how this sounds for the drop. Let's kind of work backwards and end up at this point. And through this process, we're gonna, you know, find more sounds for the breakdown and for the build up and like a lot of effects. But you know, I want to end up right here as this is the drop. So I'm gonna first start. Let me rename this to low end. Let's take the kick and let's bring that back to the intro. you know, maybe we don't need those triple kicks in the intro. Maybe we save that just for the drop. So let's simplify this a little bit. Take this. So I want a 32 bar intro. It's pretty standard for tech house, like a minute long. You know, I want the bass line to come in halfway through. Maybe we don't have the second part of the bass line, this little bouncy thing. Let's save that for the drop as well. So we'll just have this. You know, let's have some drums in here. Definitely want my clap from the start. Let's get that main hat in there. You know, pretty basic, but for now I think that's good. If we wanted to make it a little bit more complex, maybe we take out the low end of the kick right here. I'm noticing there's a little weird sound in the kick, especially when I take out the low end. So this is like part of mixing, is like you notice, you know, something that you don't like about a sound and you find where it is on an EQ and you bring the volume of that down. So right here, could be coming from this EQ as well. Yeah, so it sounds like there's a little bit of a weird kind of digital sound right there. So I'm going to put another EQ. Kind of helps a bit there. Let's go back here. So maybe we have the vocal. Maybe we start teasing the vocal in the intro. A little bit too much reverb for my taste on this track. I want it to be shorter, so I'm going to bring the volume of this long reverb down. And then I want to put a filter on this as well, so that we can kind of have this, add some movement, right? Because if I just have this loop going for, you know, 30 seconds without any movement, it's going to get very repetitive. But if I can filter it down, it's going to slowly open up. You know, right here, I'm getting a little bit bored of this loop, so I think we need to add in some higher energy. So maybe we take one of these loops right here. We add that in at this point. You know, maybe right here we have the longer vocal come in, so I'm going to add the getting busy part.
Getting busy in the place.
So this is going to be our build up. So let's add a little locator here. Build up. Add a locator at the intro, the start. Intro. This is going to be our drop. So yeah, point of the build up is to build energy to this drop section. One of the best ways to do that is to take something away, right? So we can kind of take what we have in this drop or in this intro, keep it familiar, but take something away. Let's take away the low end from the kick and the bass. So I'm gonna turn this EQ on right here. Make sure this is re-enabled.
Getting busy in the place.
So this is going to be kind of like the foundation of the build up. We're going to have this in the background. We're going to have the drums going. We're going to do a lot of automation, but that's going to be the foundation. And we need something that's going to be building the energy to that drop. If it's just kind of looping like this, I mean, sometimes that works and it goes right into it, but I kind of want something a little bit higher energy. So, you know, I have an idea. We have this little get-in vocal. Why don't we turn this into like a build-up synth? So the way I would do that would be make a sampler track or simpler. So I'm going to put it in this lead synth right here. And then I'm going to cut this little vocal. I'm going to consolidate this and add this to the simpler. So now I can kind of play this. I can play this on a scale, right? And I can kind of create my own melody here. The trick is going to be using an arpeggiator. So you want to go to MIDI effects, add the arpeggiator before here. So now if I just hold one note, so let's say I'm holding F. You have this rate, and that's how many notes are going to be playing. So it's a little easier if I demonstrate this showing you. So let's have one note, which is going to be C3, which is just the root note. So that's pretty cool, right? So we have an element of the track, which is the vocal, the getting busy. But we're kind of using it as like an effects almost, as like a riser. And there's a lot of things we can automate here to make this a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to mute this vocal for now so we just can hear this. So we can automate the rate, right? So maybe we want this to be a little bit faster. So I like this. We can also turn this off sync mode. We can go to free rate, right? So now the speed at which this arpeggiator is playing isn't tied to the BPM of the song, which is 125. It's completely independent. So that's really cool. I kind of want to maybe save using the free rate for later on in the track, so maybe we'll stick with sync for now. Let's maybe do a pattern here. I want to get the pattern down first, and then I'm going to do the processing. So the pattern I want...
Busy in the place.
So I like the get.
Busy in the place.
And then I want it to speed up. I'm going to automate this. I'm going to automate the rate, right? I want this to speed up at the end. So we have 1/8 note, and then maybe like right around here. Can't see my screen at all. Right there. We can go up to 16th notes. Then we can go back to 1/8. So let's listen to that. So, you know, we'll have it go speed up to 16th. It'll stay at 1/8 notes. Maybe here we can go to something different at the end. So maybe this goes to like 1/12 or something. Let's see how that sounds. Again, a lot of this is trial and error. I don't know exactly what I want it to sound like in my head, but I'm just kind of playing around until I get something I like. That's pretty cool. So let's keep that automation going for the entirety of this build up. What else can we automate here? So there's the gate, and that's kind of how long the sample is of the arpeggiator. So the closer you are to 0, the shorter it's going to sound. So we can definitely automate this to create some more movement. So maybe, you know, we start off with a shorter gate, and then as it goes on longer, it gets a little bit bigger. Maybe this resets, you know, and maybe towards the end of the build up, this gets like really long. We can go up to like 100%. I don't really like how I felt like it ended up too short, so I'm going to raise this number right here. Cool, so that sounds pretty good. Let's take the same effects chain that we had over here, which is the EQ and the West End vocals. Let's copy that over here so that there's kind of similarity between the vocal and the drop and the vocal and this little build synth. You know, we can put a filter on this as well. So maybe we start this off filtered down. Cool, so that's going to be kind of growing during this build up. Let's get some other sounds in here to just add to this. So we have this background vocal, which I kind of forgot about. I want to have that in the intro just to fill it out a little bit right now, because right now it's just a little bit empty. It only has drums. I'm going to put a filter on this so we can kind of create some movement here as well.
Getting busy in the place.
Cool, so now, you know, we can start to think about effects a little bit. Maybe we want to have a crash somewhere, especially, you know, these are transition sections. This is where we're transitioning from different arrangements of our track, you know, build up, drop. Those are great places to put effects. So a crash, let's see if I can find a quick crash. That one's kind of cool. Let's try that. Let's put that right on the one here.
Getting busy in the place.
Let's put a little bit of delay on this crash so it doesn't end so suddenly. So I'm going to take a delay. I like quarter note delay, slow feedback. You know, I think this needs a little bit more EQing. You know, I want more automation on this. It's still a little bit too little for my liking. So I'm going to use Endless Smile, which is a great VST for buildups. It's just one knob right here, and as you automate this knob, it really helps build the energy. So let's try that. I also have Endless Smile on my drums, so I'm gonna have that grow as well, because right now the drums are static, like there is no movement, they are just playing right now. So, you know, a filter or Endless Smile is really great to give the drums a little bit more movement. Cool, so I did a couple things there. I took out the kick for 4 bars at the end, just to give it a little bit more variation so that that kick isn't always playing. I took out all of the drums in this little section right here so that, you know, maybe we bring in the vocal from before here, like this big vocal.
Getting busy in the place to be.
You know, give it some space for that vocal right there. You know, we could have some. This is where now, like, you know, I would maybe add some effects. So, like, maybe we want like a riser sound, like a white noise sweep. See if I have like a long sweep. I think I'm using Ableton 10, so I don't have all of my samples here. Let's see what else we got. White noise. Here we go. That's perfect. So, little white noise sweep here. Maybe I want this to start a little bit earlier, so I'm going to double the length of this. So I hit this double button, bring that over here.
Getting busy in the place to be.
Cool, so that's going through the side chain. Sometimes I like to spice up these white noise sweeps as well, so I'll add an auto pan, and I'll automate the rate and the amount, and I'll have each of those go up to the highest they can go at the end of the effect, and I'll use the option button to curve these down like this, and it provides just like a nice little character to the effect, so you'll kind of hear it'll like buzz out almost like a mosquito. Maybe I did this a little bit too slowly. Let's see if I can fasten that. You know, without it. So it helps to just give a little bit more movement to that sound. You know, I could also try doing my own riser. So maybe I will make a MIDI track here, and let's add Serum. Serum's just my go-to synth for pretty much everything. So we can draw like one note, and I think we're in the key of E based on the bass line, so I'm gonna just try an E note and see if that sounds good. Yeah, I can immediately tell that that works with the vocal and everything else, so let's bring the volume down to this. Let's add a couple of voices to this synth to widen it up, because right now it's in mono. So let's automate this detune, so as the sound goes on further, it'll detune itself. You know, other thing I can do is I can add some pitch bend here. So let's say I want it to go up an octave. I can add 12 semitones to the pitch bend range, and then just wiggle this little pitch bend, and then it'll show up in the channel here. So maybe, you know, sometimes pitch bends sound kind of cheesy, so I don't love the way they sound.
Getting busy in the place to be.
Sounds pretty good to me. Let's add a filter here, and I'm going to add two filters. One's going to be a low pass filter, and one's going to be a high pass filter. So the low pass filter is going to start it off just so we don't hear that full sound from the intro. It's kind of coming in slowly.
Busy in the place to be.
Cool. All right. So sorry, we got a lot of endless smile there. I want to high pass this sound out just so it kind of fizzles away. So that's all coming from this auto filter right here. And then this is going to be the drop. So we definitely want the bass here. We definitely don't want endless smile running around like crazy.
Getting busy in the place to be.
So, you know, this is a transition section, so maybe we add the crash here. Helps to relieve that tension a little bit.
Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place.
Sounding pretty good, and like, you know, we haven't touched this section since we started to do the intro and build up. We kind of just used what we had there and built everything around that so that it naturally flows into that. There's a couple things I wanted to potentially try out in this build up, and then, you know, my philosophy when I'm trying to write a track is I'm trying to do this section, I'm trying to perfect these sections before I go on to do the full arrangement, because then it makes it a lot easier to copy and paste things around. So let's go to the percussion, and I want to try to use the snare sound right here and maybe make a build up with that. So let's see. You know, maybe this snare, this little jack and snare. Let's see if this sounds good. Trying to see if I can get like a faster pattern. Start with the slow pattern and then use that same sample to make a faster pattern. I'm going to turn the endless smile off because it's a little bit loud. Oh, it's way too fast. Let's try this. It's pretty good. Maybe copy that out.
Getting busy in the place to be.
You know, maybe this. Kind of want this to fizzle out a little bit, so I'm going to use the auto filter high pass here because it's kind of getting in the way with that other vocal. They're playing at the same time. It doesn't sound too great. Yeah, it sounds a lot better.
Getting busy in the place to be.
This is a little bit too loud here, so I'm going to bring down the volume.
Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in.
Sounds pretty good. The only other thing is the snare. It needs some more movement, so maybe we do high pass filtering on this as well.
Getting busy in the place.
You know, maybe we do a little bit of a kick fill here, so take one of these kicks right at the intro.
Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place.
Cool, so I'm pretty happy with the way this is flowing. So now we can kind of think about long-term arrangement. So we have an intro, we have a build-up, we have a drop. This drop's a little bit too short right now. It's only 16 bars long, and I want this to be maybe 32 bars. So I'm going to just double this. And then this is going to be, you know, drop 1.2. So, you know, I got to figure out a way to make drop 1.2 interesting. I think if I have this siren sound too much, it's going to get kind of annoying. So maybe I take those out there. Or maybe I take it out here and then I bring it back here. So it only happens twice in the 32 bar drop. You know, here I can just simply maybe add like a shaker loop or something just to like make the hats a little bit more interesting here. Let's see if I have like a shaker loop. Maybe something like this.
Getting busy in the place to be.
I didn't love the sounds of that one, but yeah, this is good. I think we could just loop this. We add that right there. Yeah, that's pretty nice. You know, for shaker loops, I like to pan them as well, so I'll use auto pan effect with a half note rate, so that's synced up to the beat. So you hit this little music note right there, half note. So now it's moving left and right in our ears. That's too much though.
Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be.
You know, right here we can add another layer to our main hat. So I'm thinking like a classic 909 open. Open. That one's pretty
Busy in the place to be.
So like right here, this is just going to be a layer, so it's going to play the same pattern as the normal hi-hat.
Place to be. Getting busy in the place.
Okay, cool. So that's gonna end off the drop here. Again, I'm trying to fit this in for an hour, so I can't do every little detail, but I think this should be pretty good. And then for this section, let's do a cool down. So that's going to be an area where the kick and bass just play. Maybe we have the vocal, like we have this vocal kind of going. Maybe this vocal, we have some filtering on this as well. Maybe, you know, filters down here.
Getting busy in the place to be.
Maybe right here we can add the clap back in, so it's so this is going to be build up 2, and I think for this track we're going to have just 2 drops and 2 build ups. Build up 2. So for this build up, I always like to just, at least to start it off, copy and paste what I had the first time. It just makes it easier. There's some sounds to work with. You don't have to copy them one by one. And I already had an idea for build up 2 from the beginning, which was basically to do the same thing, but this time instead of having this, whoops, oh, I've been copying like this. Instead of having this synced up to the beat, I want to have this on an unsynced mode. So, alright, so I'm going to copy this one more time. I accidentally didn't copy the automation, which is pretty important because we same thing here. I just got to copy this over. So here, you know, I'm going to change this ARP mode to, whoops, I'm going to change this sync to not synced, so off here. And then here, I have full control over this rate. So I'm just right now playing with this rate, and you know I want it to speed up or slow down and then speed up again, which is what I'm kind of drawing in here. You know, maybe here we kind of strip down some of the kick and bass. Maybe we strip down some of these hats as well. Let's see what this sounds like. That's pretty cool. I want to make more differences between these builds, so I'm actually going to take away the snare build that we did the first time and just use that the second time around because I want a little bit more energy. Other than that, I think this sounds pretty good. Maybe the serum patch, you know, maybe the pitch bend doesn't happen the first time, so we keep this at 0.50. And then this time it does happen. So, you know, a lot of times you can start your arrangement out one way, but then as you progress in the track, you're like, oh, this would actually be better later on. So that's kind of what I did here. And then I'm going to take drop 1.2. Take this little drop. It's a little bit higher energy than the first one. So I'll take all this. And that's going to start off this drop 2 here. Drop 2. So let's listen to this transition and see how it flows.
Getting busy in the place to be.
So pretty good. I'm thinking maybe I can do a little section here where I take out the
Place to
drum.
be.
So maybe we'll have a little section where it's just the kick and the bass and the siren. Maybe add a little clap right here. Kind of what I heard. Maybe we take away the kick and the bass. And this would be a great place to put that crash because we have that little fake out. So
In the place to be. Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be.
so that second hat comes in right there. This could use a little bit of EQing. I hear some low frequencies. I mix as I go, so every time I hear something, I kind of got to stop and I got to fix it as I'm working. Let's see, how long have we been recording? 51 minutes. All right, so we got 10 more minutes to work on some stuff for this track. Pretty much the arrangement is done. We have all the sounds we need. You know, I think we could extend this drop out a little bit longer. So just like this one, you know, maybe we take this, copy this here. You know, here would be drop 2.2, drop 2.2. This is where maybe we could add some more percussion or even like a ride cymbal could sound good. So maybe I add a ride here. See if I can have a quick ride loop. And if I wasn't doing this for you guys, showing you everything, I would probably spend more time picking these samples, but I'm a little bit in a rush right now, so let's try this little ride loop.
Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place.
You know, maybe to end out this drop, what we can do is we can take that little getting busy pattern that we had the first time, and maybe we add that here. Maybe we take away this vocal here. That's pretty cool. You know, anytime I have a sound that's playing very fast over the drop, I like to put a little bit of sidechain. So kickstart would be great on this. Maybe set that 60%. And what we can do here is automate this so that it's only on in this little drop section. It's not on in the build-up. And here can be our outro. Outro, I usually just like to do the intro backwards, so I just copy the second half of the intro. You know, take this stuff, copy that here, this is the outro. And take the first part of the intro, copy that. So that could be the outro. You know, maybe we have some of these loops playing. It's a little bit too loud. I can show you guys a couple of quick mixing things I like to do as well. So on my hats, I have this plugin from Waves, the SSL channel strip. I really like this preset from Dave Darlington called EDM hi-hats. I find that it helps the hats really cut through the mix. So I usually put this on my hat bus, and then I also like to make sure that this high medium frequency, the gain, it's really loud right now. It's 7.5 dBs, which is way too much in my opinion. So I bring that down. I can show you without it. Let me play here. It really like pushes the mids, but it's a little bit too much. I bring this down to like 2.5.
Getting busy in the place.
Sometimes it's nice. I have a little bit of reverb on these hats as well, so you can hear this is a parallel reverb. So there's that extra reverb that's being added to the dry signal. Sometimes that sounds good on the clap as well, so I could add a reverb here. Reverb. I can group the effect. Add a new chain. Change the effect to 100% dry wet. Bring this decay time down really short. Bring the volume down. There's my reverb. Adds a nice little, just adds a little bit more frequencies to the sound. It helps it glue it together and fit in the mix a little bit. So you can also do this with sends, but I like to have it in the channel just out of habit. You know, for my drums, I've been using this plugin called Thermal from Output. It's a really good distortion plugin, and I've been using this one preset called Overhead Slam. It essentially adds a ton of distortion and width to your drums. It's way too loud at the start, so you really have to bring the dry wet down to like between 0 and 10 in my opinion. So I can kind of show you what this sounds like. Just helps give it a little bit more dirt to your drums and a little bit more width.
Getting busy in the place.
All right, cool. So, you know, when I think I'm done with a track or close, what I like to do is just kind of listen from the start. So let's just do a quick listening section. And then, you know, there's probably going to be a couple areas where like I could have improved, but it's always good to listen from the start and then, you know, maybe with a notepad or something, write down things to do the next time you open the session. So in this case, you know, maybe I'll be like, oh, this transition was a little awkward. You know, I need to do some automation there or add some effects there. So let's just listen to what we kind of created from this 8-bar loop and yeah, see what it sounds like.
Busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place. Getting busy in the place to be. Getting busy in the place to be. Getting, 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 getting busy in the place to be. Getting, 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 getting busy in the place to be. Getting, 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 getting busy in the place to be. Getting, 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 getting busy in the place to be.
Cool, yeah, so definitely noticed a couple things just from listening to that. This vocal gets very annoying. It's also playing the whole time, so I definitely need some more processing on this, some more automation. So, if I had more time, I would work on that. The overall mix needs a little bit of work. Sometimes certain things are a little bit too loud, like the vocal is a little bit too loud. Some of these little drum fills are loud, so I would go in and fix some of that. A couple other things, in the drop, maybe a couple more fills. Maybe some cool delays on the end of these vocals as well.
Getting busy in the place to be.
Like the place to be, I feel like I could put a little delay on B so it kind of spreads out into the next section. The build-ups, I think, were pretty good. Maybe a little bit more clean up with the automation. Second drop I was pretty happy with. I think this section right here where the lead vocal is kind of playing. I think this could have been mixed a little bit better, and I just copy and pasted over here. I think we could have made it fit a little bit more for the drop as opposed to the build-up, but it was a little bit short on time. But yeah, so that's kind of how I had no idea how I wanted to take this track. We just had a little 8-bar loop. Pretty much this section right here is all we started with, and just kind of showed you guys some arrangement tips and tricks to take what you have. We only added a few other sounds. Take what you have and kind of make a full length track out of it. So yeah, if this is something that you enjoyed, please give the video a like. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these as well. And leave a comment with any questions you may have, or any ideas you have for future videos. I would love to see what you guys suggest. So thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed the video and have a great day.